People who post NSFW pics on Reddit, have you even been approached by a fan? If so, how did it go? I used to regularly post in a few of the more male-aimed Gonwilt subs. I've got a few tattoos that are rather distinguishable, and post in local R4R subs. Had a girl come into the shop I work in, chit-chat about how familiar I look etc., and after going down the list of maybe LinkedIn or this friend or that, she suddenly tenses up and leans into whisper, much more loudly than a whisper ought to be, "I think I've seen your nudes, someone is posting them me. That someone is me." She hasn't been back. I used to post on Ladybonus. It was an overall good experience and helped me a lot with my low self-esteem. After about 6 months of posting, I got a text from my friend asking why I posted a nude of myself on my Instagram. I thought it was a bit weird considering I don't have an Insta. I then found out that someone had created a fake account using my real name and invited a bunch of my real-life friends and acquaintances to follow the account. Once they had a decent following, they started posting everything I ever posted on Reddit. They had also created a Snapchat account and simultaneously started sending out pictures on there. It was one of the worst days of my entire life. At the end of the day, I got a message from a random person on Reddit who claimed to be the person who did it. They gave me a list of everyone they sent stuff to and detailed exactly what content was sent to who. I asked them why they did it and their response was, "I don't know." So yeah, I don't post stuff like that anymore. Years back, there was a stripper in town that I recognized from a Lil Wayne video. She was actually surprised that I knew that. Nice girl, hope she's doing well. If you're going to post NSFW pics on Reddit, it never hurts to remove the metadata from your pictures before you post. This removes any personal info such as names, dates, locations, etc. that could be used to track or find you. You can do it in Windows File Explorer with these instructions: https://www.cnet.com/how to/remove metadata from Office files, PDFs and images /or these https://us. Norton.com/internet security how to remove Jeeps and other metadata locations from photos. HTML. Stay safe out there. This isn't exactly my story, but I feel this is the only place I can share this. There was a girl at my school, who had a video that her boyfriend recorded of them having sex go pretty viral on Tumblr. Everyone knew then, but the couple didn't really seem to care. Fast forward to now, I shit you not, I still see this video if I browse porn, not even looking, it's just all over. She has had to make a post about dudes from our school hitting her up, either trying to blackmail, or just fuck her, because they assume she's easy. Moral of the story, put a bag on your head. I happened to meet someone who showed me a list of his 4 favorite NSFW Tumblr blogs he followed. Mine was on the list. I am not sure if he actually recognized it was mine, and I didn't reveal the fact on my own. I had always really struggled with body image stuff and didn't want anyone to look at me for the most part. I found this app called Mobbly, which was essentially Instagram for dick pics. I had lost a few pounds and decided to take a leap into the deep end and post a few things, since I got to control who could see my private pics through a request/accept system. One was a photo of me in my underwear. Someone apparently stole that and posted it on Tumblr. I'm kind of a stocky/fat hairy guy with a beard, so I never imagined that happening, but I met someone at a party weeks later that recognized me from it. He told me he saw me there and I felt sick. I asked him if he remembered where, so he found the post and sent a link, and there I was, face and all, with the camera situated to put my junk all in the viewer's face. It had been reblogged like 700 times already, including by some magazines specific to guys like me apparently. I found a girl on r/Gonwild I knew in high school. Found from that picture she did some professional nude modeling. Never told her I knew. Didn't see a point in telling her. I posted a gif of my round man ass jiggling on Reddit about 8 years ago. It ended up being used in some porn ads, blissfully unaware it was a man ass. Edit: I found it. Man ass. Does anybody have a link to my ass in the ad? I used to post NSFW pics on Tumblr. About a year after I deleted it, some girls at work found the pictures and sent them to everyone at my work. I had to have a very awkward conversation with my manager. Edit, to answer a couple of questions, the girls did get a talking to and had their probationary period extended, but nothing really came of it. My manager spoke to me about it, but I didn't get in trouble. I think the main reason she did was because she found out before I did and she thought I should know. The pictures had been reposted on other sites etc., so I'm assuming they found them on one of those. Didn't really feel like asking them where they found them. I used to sell my underwear, socks and stuff online during my college years. I hardly ever met with clients, but met this guy, let's call him Jim, a couple of times in a coffee shop to hand him the package because we lived in the same city. Super quick transaction, hi, thanks, have a good one. All was fine. Happened maybe 3 to 4 times. Always the same order. Fast forward to a couple years later, I was invited to a job interview. Got there, met the CEO and we talked for a bit. Everything went great. I met a couple of other people and everyone seemed utterly lovely. At the end of the interview, CEO tells me to wait a bit because he wants me to meet the head of my future department. Well, Jim walks in. I probably wouldn't have recognized him if he hadn't acted all weird and pretty much fled the room after like 30 seconds of awkward staring. I got a call later from him today. He apologized and said that he was looking forward to working with me. I ended up taking another offer. Still get texts from him from time to time asking if I'd still sell him stuff though. So, yeah, that was fun. A friend from high school, who I knew of but didn't know, DM'd me on Facebook letting me know that there was a website dedicated to identifying GW girls. They had most of my pictures, my full name, my hometown, state, and college. That was like 5 years ago and I haven't posted to GW since. I owe her a lot. Edit, since so many have inquired, I'm not sure if the site is still active or not. The link I was sent was USA. Anonib. CH. I'm sorry that my comment freaked so many people out, but it was very sobering for me. I stumbled across a girl I knew on GW. I only figured it out because some items went missing from our work, and later showed up in her pictures. I did not confront her about it. It felt creepy enough that I had figured it out, let alone asking her. Edit, well, this blew up. I'm sure the kind lady is still an avid Redditor, which means she's likely seen this. Sorry bro. Hope you're doing well lol. I went on a date with someone from a dating site and while at dinner he proceeds to tell me he recognized me from Gone Wild and that's why he wanted to go out with me. It was very awkward after that, and we didn't have a second date. Edit, some questions answered. Dude said the only reason he wanted to go out with me because I was on GW and then proceeded to keep asking questions about it despite me several times trying to change the subject. He didn't ask me anything else about myself and often hinted at wanting to be a part of my pictures. When's the right time to mention seeing your date's nudes? Answer, I feel you could at any time as long as you don't make it a big deal. I'd think around the second or third date and just make it casual or funny depending on the person. Ideally, that person would mention it to you when it started getting serious to see if it made you uncomfortable. Why was it awkward if you posted the nudes? Did he not get a second date because he saw your nudes? Answer, it was awkward because he stated that's why he went out with me and then continued to talk about it despite me being clearly uncomfortable. I was younger then and didn't know how to handle these types of situations, so I just tried to change the subject. It was kinda cute. I was at a coffee shop and she approached me, asking about the book I was reading. I could tell something else was on her mind. I expected some pyramid scheme pitch, but she casually asked if I posted on Reddit and if I was the username I used at the time. It threw me off guard, like my real life hit with this anonymous world, but she turned out to be super nice and we ended up dating for a few months. I think she had an abnormal amount of self-confidence and most people wouldn't approach. Edit, I'm a woman. How people are able to recognize others like this is beyond me. I am barely able to remember most of my extended family. Same goes for people I knew from years ago in school or work. I just seem unable to match faces with people/personalities. I forget the name of the dating site, but it allowed people, women and men, to post nudes of themselves next to their vanilla pictures. One day I came across one woman, fairly attractive and close to my age, who had a couple of excellent nudes, but, for some reason, I didn't message her. A few weeks later I ran into her. She was a co-worker's sister. I used to take and post nudes in cosplay. Full-on cosplay smut to satisfy people's fetishes and fantasies. It was fun and I got mildly known in certain niche fandoms, but since I'm not American I was sure nobody would know who I was in real life. Until one day I went to a con wearing one of my latest cosplays and I ran into a group of cosplayers from the same series I was doing. One of the girls went, "Oh, you look like a guy I follow, he'd do nudes and stuff." Funny, right? Like fully thinking it was a coincidence. I later told them that yeah, that was me. Edit, I'm gay. Getting recognized by a girl was not fun since there's not much I can do there. Also yeah, I wish I still had those pics, but they got lost between me changing laptops a lot and Tumblr erasing all adult content. I'm sure somebody must have saved them, but yeah. Not in person, but lots of people from my hometown know and have messaged me saying they appreciate my pics, which is definitely code for saying they masturbated to them. I'm totally okay with it though. I mean, that's why I post. I was approached by a guy on Tinder. He sent me a link to my profile and asked if it was me. I said yes and he immediately started begging for a date. I said no and he started to get threatening. He was like 40 and I was 18. I didn't know I could restrict age and don't remember swiping him. I told him if he ever contacted me again I would go to the police and unmatched/blocked him. The week before I finished college I saw him interviewing to be an IT support guy. I'm so glad I finished when I did. Not on Reddit, but a photographer I worked with posted my nude photos to their Tumblr, people I knew found them, reposted then to a website that was made for revenge porn and identifying women in pictures. One person sent me a link to the forum. I, regretfully, read the comments. People are mean. Also, I didn't mind the photographer posting them. I signed a contract stating any photo could be published. I wasn't uncomfortable with that. I was uncomfortable with people I went to high school with reposting them with my name and information. I had met and hooked up with a girl from Tinder who later asked me if I was so-and-so on Reddit. Apparently she had been following me for months before and put it together after the fact. Moral of the story, never post anything online that you don't want the people in your life to see. Even if you delete it, you really don't. Yup. I had my picture/post on r/ProgressPics go fairly viral. It was on the front page all day and Mensch Health.com reached out for an interview, at a time where I didn't understand how Reddit worked. I used this same account, the one I'm using now, to post my gay porn/nude content on various gay subreddits. It never occurred to me that people who began following my account would now see all that stuff. A couple months after my initial post went viral, I was at a coffee shop here in Salt Lake City when a really nice guy came up to me and told me my weight loss post inspired him to finally tackle his obesity. He also, despite being straight, said I had a beautiful asshole and wished his was like mine. It was an incredibly sweet encounter and I was super happy for him, but I later made a new account for my nudes. I can't say I didn't like the attention, but damn, it was embarrassing. Edit, I hope this doesn't come off as narcissistic. This is just what happened and I thought it was a funny, wholesome story. Edit 2, thanks for the Reddit medals and copious compliments. A lot of you made me audibly laugh and smile today, so I thank you. It honestly made my day, especially since so many of you are so positive about a story that could have enticed a lot of hurtful comments. Some of you have been asking why you can't find pics featuring my asshole, and that's because shortly after this comment got some traffic I had a moment of embarrassment and deleted a bunch of the pictures I wasn't as comfortable with. That being said, I do have a different Reddit account where I post that stuff, so if you wanna see that stuff just send me a PM and I'll lead you there. Thanks for making Reddit such a charming place, y'all. Heart. People who post NSFW pics on Reddit, please comment on this so I can have new spank material. I sold my used yoga pants to the fan. I don't post my face in my pics because I don't want to be recognized. I have had some people randomly message me on Reddit asking if I was their ex-girlfriend or a girl they once knew. One guy from Australia literally argued with me about it, insisting I was his ex. Haha, I've never been to Australia and I've never dated an Australian guy but maybe I have an Australian doppelganger. I came across a girl on Tinder that I recognized from r/Gone Wild. Turns out she lives somewhere in my neighborhood. I swiped right and got kind of obsessed with her for like a day but refused to DM her on Reddit about it. If she comes across my Tinder profile and likes what she sees, then it was meant to be. Edit, this kind of blew up. As unlikely as it may be, thanks for Alden's hoping to see my wiener on one of her posts one day. Pre-Reddit. Young, naive and newly married. Posted nude pics of the then wife on Usenet under alt. Bin. Pictures. Some fat old guy photoshopped himself into the pictures and posted back. Obviously spent some time on it with posing and 3D positioning. Wife thought it was hilarious. I posted a fully clothed weight loss photo and was inundated with requests to join NSFW subs and post nudes. Reddit be thirsty. I had a guy ask for a pic with me at a cosplay convention once. Not at all uncommon if you're cosplaying. He said he was a huge fan and ran off. It didn't hit me till like a day later that he maybe wasn't talking about the character I was cosplaying, haha. Oh, and a tip for anyone who recognizes a poster, don't scream their username at them in a crowded public spot. Hasn't happened to me but I can't imagine how uncomfortable that would be for everyone involved. I'm a BBW and I used to have a very NSFW MeWe account. I was shopping at Walmart and someone came up to me all quiet and was like, "Hey, sorry, are you Snow? From MeWe?" And I was expecting another abusive cunt who would tell me being fat is ugly and etc. But this guy was the opposite. He told me that he thinks I'm beautiful and my body is perfect and my eyes are amazing, and while he's saying all this, he is quite noticeably shaking as if I were some big important person. I have anxiety. I get it. So I invite him to walk around with me a bit and I take him to the little bakery section. We shared some cookies and I bought him a coffee and we hung out. He was finally able to calm down and wasn't so nervous. Wonderful man. I wish all humans were like him. I don't understand Reddit's algorithm sometimes. This post an hour old with only 5 comments is on the front page. Haha, yes actually. It was this past New Year's. I ended up at a punk bar in my city and this dude kept checking me out from across the dance floor and finally he approached me and was like, "Is your name Ava?" I kinda figured it out right away where he knew me from, considering I use this name for this type of stuff only. Anyway, I was pretty smashed and we started hanging out and long story short we ended up going back to his mom's place at like 4 AM. It was a solid 35-minute Uber away from where we were outside of the city and I remember telling him we should have just went to my place because it was only 10 minutes away and I live alone. Although I didn't realize we were going to his mom's house yet. Anyway, we end up at his mom's house and we stayed up until like 7 AM chain smoking menthols, and talking about video games. Eventually we made out and tried swapping head but we were both too tired and drunk by that point, so I just told him I wanted to sleep. We went to bed, only for us to be woken up like 5 hours later to him receiving a phone call that he's late for work. At this point I felt like trash and needed more sleep, so I just rolled over and passed back out. 2 hours later I woke up and was like, oh fuck, I'm in some random house and I'd where I am. And I heard someone walking around outside his room. Well, turns out it was his mom. And I had to make the walk of shame past her and outside to my Uber hungover as fuck with my makeup all fucked up. 3/10 would maybe do again. I post porn and stuff here on Reddit, Pornhub, and I have an OnlyFans. When I was first getting started, I received a message here on Reddit that asked if I want to insert school here. It was freaky, but I responded with the generic why. And he said that he was looking at me in the cafeteria like right then. I was a little scared but told him to come up and introduce himself, so this wasn't so awkward. He did, and now we're actually good friends. I've met his girlfriend and we eat lunch together often. I was inadvertently the fan. A few years ago, I went on a date and throughout the night kept trying to figure out where I knew him from. We figured out that we both went to the same college as later in life students but had none of the same classes or friends. I was stumped until he asked me if I used Reddit. Well, of course. Then he asked me my favorite subreddits. I list off several safe subs and he smiled slyly and asked if there were others. It dawns on me what he is asking. At the same time, I recognize him from r/dadbod. Dadbods are my thing. Don't judge. He sees the recognition on my face and puffs up like a peacock. He is so excited to be recognized and I'm internally dying at the situation. Now, I love a bit of ridiculousness, so I stay because when else is this happening in my life? I giggle about that date every time my life needs a little humor. I once saw a nude of girl I went to college with on an NSFW subreddit. After a quick look, it was clear that the account that posted the picture wasn't hers. I spent the next few hours trying to track her down on Facebook or something. I didn't know her at all, just recognized her, not telling friends the full story of why I was looking for this person. Eventually I found her Facebook and sent her the link, terrified that that would make things worse. She was grateful that I let her know. Apparently she has been dealing with this picture being out there for years. It was down within 24 hours. All in all, not a great experience. Arguing with people in the comments about ethics, and wondering how much of what I had jacked off to in my life was posted against the wishes of the person in the photo, kinda ruined porn for me for a bit. That's why I like to stick to accounts of people posting themselves or professional production, not that there aren't big problems in those categories. 2. Never posted on Reddit, posted on another website. However, I was recognized at a convention by a guy working at a shop. Bit weird, but he gave me free Kit-Kats lol. There was a TV show similar to Last Week Tonight, ridiculing the fetish community. I mentioned a feature of that episode to another guy I knew. Turned out he was the one whose content was featured and we shared a good laugh. I then stepped on his balls and he liked it. Not me, but some dude at my college saw another woman's nude photo shoots and confronted her about it. He's known for being a creep, and because of that specific thing, and some other stuff, he's banned from joining our film fraternity because no one wants to work with a guy like that. By approached, do you mean Earl or in the DMs? I feel like it is important to mention that there are resources out there for survivors of revenge porn. It can often be a completely crippling thing and nobody seems to understand. Check out the Badass, Battling Against Abusive and Demeaning Selfie Sharing, Army. If you have any questions or just need someone to talk to, feel free to DM me. I posted a photo of my purple, swollen balls after my vasectomy onto r/PICS once. I didn't once get any fans approaching me afterwards. Frown. There's gonna be a lot of people looking at profiles in this thread. I had an awkward situation wherein my fan was my ex-husband who creepily let me know he wasn't pleased with the content I was posting. I hadn't changed Reddit accounts after we divorced because I figured we were all adults who had better things to do than Reddit stalk each other, and I didn't particularly care who saw what I posted, so I just kept on doing what I do. Eventually my account came to feature NSFW photos of my new husband because we were posting in fetish communities. I really didn't think anything of it. Everyone is welcome to see my husband's ween. Or so I thought. Shortly after posting the first photo of my husband's wang, my ex picked up our kid for their visitation time and he looked pissed. I was met with the most hateful scowl when I said hello. You know you're still using the same Reddit account you had when we were together, right? He practically snarled at me. I brushed it off with a laugh and said I didn't want to lose all of my useless karma, so I'd never bothered to make a new one. Well, I just think it's weird of you. You know that I know what it is, and I'm going to keep checking it as long as you have it. You can't expect me to do anything different. I'm going to keep checking it every day. To say I was surprised would be an understatement. He looked so mad and seemed completely justified in what he was saying. Like it was the most normal thing in the world to be quietly stalking your ex-wife's Reddit for nudes, and even more normal to suddenly tell her about it when she posts another man's dick. He left with our kid right after, so I didn't have time to say much about it. What I did have time to do was delete every single post on that account save for the NSFW ones of my husband and just let it sit like that for a while. He looked like he was about to explode when he brought our kid back but remained silent. When I outright deleted the account a few days later, I got an angry text saying, well, you didn't have to delete it. A few hours later, as far as I know, he still has my nudes saved on his phone. I'd imagine he still looks for my posts on the old subreddits I used to frequent. Joke's on him, though. I only post NSFWs of my husband on a side account. I haven't been naked on Reddit in some time now. Not in person yet, but I do come across dudes on Tinder and OKC that have seen my content before and recognize me. This happened twice the other way around. Some dudes have messaged me on this account with a screenshot of my dating profiles. This happened about 5 times. Some dudes feel like they deserve free nudes and content. Most dudes are hella cool about it and respect my boundaries. I appreciate that. But it doesn't make dating or building new friendships any easier. It takes a lot of time to build mutual trust. I also used to frequent FetLife, and I live in a tiny country with a tiny non-monogamous dating pool, so it's not strange at all. I used to post avidly a few years ago. Never been recognized, but some guys still obsess. Haven't posted in 3 to 4 years because someone found me out, and he still sends a text from time to time, and yes, I blocked him, but he texts from different numbers, so now I just ignore him. My last flatmate had an on-again/off again physical relationship with a local girl he met on Tinder. They would hook up for a couple nights and then she would fall off the face of the earth for a week or two, repeat for months on end. I stumbled across her on r/roast me a few months ago and we had a great laugh over it. The next morning though, things got weird. A Redditor went through her post history and found some old pics she had posted in an NSFW community here. With her husband. All that confusion started to make sense for me, mate, and the discovery brought him whatever closure he felt he needed from the situation. Love doesn't last forever, but those naked selfies do. Just curious, if anyone knows. In the US, is there any way of finding out if photos of you have been posted anywhere? I have a very spiteful ex whom I left 6 months ago, that has threatened to release things in the past if I left or did something he didn't like. Abusive relationship I was in for 5 years, so you can imagine how much material he may still have on me. Figure it's better to be on the safer side and find out in my own instead of someone I know finding out for me. Any help or tips would be much appreciated. Saw my cousin on a certain kink subreddit. I no longer have that kink and stay far away from any sub related to it. This happened to my husband, not me. While we were dating long distance during undergrad, my husband and I would send nudes to each other. One of the guys who lived in his building asked to update my husband's computer, which required him to have Hub's Apple password. This friend had a crush on him, and proceeded to go into my husband's photos and save the nudes to his phone. 3 years later, we find them plastered over gay porn sites on Tumblr with my husband's full name, Instagram and Twitter handles, and his college. Keep in mind that husband is in school for secondary education, and these pictures could have had a huge impact on his future career had anyone else find them. Long story short, filed a police report because we knew who had stolen and posted them. Police think husband is covering up a relationship with friend and have trouble believing his story. It's been a year and we've had no progress, except for Tumblr taking down all NSFW pictures. Husband has some residual PTSD from this, and had major depressive episode during the 1-year anniversary of finding his nudes online. A few years back, I was going through a very tough time in life. One night I decided to post a few pics out of sheer loneliness. You couldn't see my face or anything that would indicate it was me. I just needed to feel good about myself again. I got some comments and some chats started up. I stopped posting pics, but kept chatting with this one guy. After a few weeks, it turns out that he lives in the county over from mine. We met up and that was that. We've been together for almost a year. Thanks Reddit. Not me, but still a spicy story. A friend of mine who started working a couple years back in a well-known company was advised that a middle management girl made tons of porno movies back in the day. Not your average vintage soft kissing stuff, proper ass drilling. That was back when this will never make it back to your country rhetoric was thrown out, and yeah, I wouldn't believe it myself, but all those videos are right there on the internet to this day, and it's 100% her lol. Won't give you the name. It didn't go all that well for her because she had a couple breakdowns due to it. She kinda wings it best she can, but it's quite taboo to mention it. Man, you sneaky dude, you're just trying to get them to post on their main accounts, you sly dog. I found a girl I used to work with who posted professionally shot nudes on Tumblr. She knew I followed her, like her profile was public and was linked through some of her social media, so I didn't think it was that weird. Ran into her at a bar later and she said it was awkward. Oh well. Not me, but I was there. Walking down Boys Town with my friend and some random dude waiting to get into sidetrack goes, "Aren't you erecteric?" To my friend. I've never felt more famous by association. A girl in my friend's group used to have a MyFreeCams account and during a drunken night let it slip and joked that we couldn't find it amongst the thousands of users anyway, so the guy she was talking to pulled out his iPad and was like, "I'm going to find it now," jokingly. Somehow her account was in the top 3 rows or so when he opened it and everyone found out her username. I remember it got really awkward and he apologized like 1,000 times, saying he never thought he would actually find it, much less in front of 3 other people. But she got on her phone and was able to hide her account. After that, we all pretended it never happened, and about a year later when we were all drunk she thanked those that were at both events and said even though she seemed really cool about it and not bothered, that night she just kind of rolled her eyes and laughed about it. She was devastated and embarrassed when that happened. Moral of the story, if you see someone you know, just jerk it and forget about it. They don't want to know you found them, and contrary to popular belief, telling them makes it much less likely they'll hook up with you. Gonna regret the lack of a serious tag. I had some girl friends discover my account. One was cool about it, the other so obsessive and creepy that I completely killed the account. That guy in general can go trip into traffic, was not a good guy. I was never approached by a fan IRL, but one day out of the blue I had a boyfriend accused me of cheating. I had no clue what he was talking about. Then he showed me a picture of me nude his roommate had in his PC. I realized it was a pic I had posted on GW before I met my boyfriend at the time. We have a girl at work who has an active OnlyFans account and she is also plugging it on her public Instagram account. Most of the folk at work know and it's a bit of an open secret. Most of the guys in the office follow her both on her Instagram and her OnlyFans page. It is weird having seen everything of her, and I mean really everything, and then having to look her in eye in the staff canteen and say something innocuous as "pass the salt please," smiley face. I sent nudes to a girl I was kinned off with and we ended up not working out. She ended up threatening to send them to my mother if I didn't give her $200. I was 17 at the time. Personally, I couldn't care less if someone put a picture of me nude face and all on the internet for thousands to see, doesn't really bother me. Would I feel bad for any friends and family that see it? Yes. I ended up calling her bluff after telling my mom what might happen. So the ex ends up sending a nude of me, essentially recreating George Costanza's Sexiest Man pose, and my mom doesn't tell me if she sent it or not. She prints it off and tapes it to my bedroom door. On the bright side, I think she has now seen me at the lowest I've ever been and nothing can ever be worse. Opposite, I ended up waiting at a bus stop with someone who at the time was a frequent and highly popular poster on a bunch of NSFW trans subreddits. I'm also trans, although I was still closeted and totally pre-transition at the time. So I did what anyone would do, I caught my bus and minded my own business. Okay, so I don't really post or sell content on Reddit, but before Tumblr went even more to shit, I used it to post a lot of lewd and nude photos and sell content. Unfortunately, people in my hometown found it pretty quickly. Close friend and I had a falling out and he told everyone. I have been approached multiple times, but my personal favorite was a 21 meters that saw me in the dollar store. I looked like trash, I literally had my hair in a 3-day depression bun. He stared for a solid 2 minutes while I was finishing up and checking out and then caught me in the parking lot. He asked if I was porn name and I said I was. He then proceeded to talk about how I was his favorite amateur porn model and he buys my content constantly and he's a huge fan. Cool, great, no biggie. We went our separate ways after an awkward selfie. A week later my town had our first Pride event. It was a huge deal for us because we are a tiny southern town. So of course we had a lot of backlash, but we were excited. My mother is super supportive of my sexuality and came out about hers shortly after I did, so she came with my friends and lo and behold, 21 meters is there. He tried to strike up a conversation again and I told him I was enjoying my day with my friends and mother. He let it go but was visibly upset. About an hour later I couldn't find my mother, but my brother said she told him she was going to go on the nature trail. Now, in my town the nature trail off from the park is where everyone hooks up. It's a sister area and I was like, oh no, someone should find her, but I was in the middle of something important, so I sent my brother. My brother returned 20 minutes later okaying horrified to tell me that he found 21 meters and my mother hooking up in a small cave off the nature trail. They continued hooking up for like 3 months and he tried to still hook up with me. It's been a solid 3/4 years and he still hits me up occasionally. TLDR, turned down a fan just for him to end up hooking up with my mother at a Pride event and then continue to hit us both up. This is how one of my best friends met her, so it seemed to work out for them both. My husband's friend recognized my house in the background. He just told my husband in case I was doing it behind his back, which I wasn't. But now I wonder how frequently the friend is checking my profile. I like how high up this is despite having no relevant answers. Recognized a cam whore, cosplayer I would help at work, didn't say anything. A few months later she was arrested for stabbing her boyfriend and letting him bleed out and die on their balcony. Someone I know spotted one of my posts. He was always super creepy, but then I realized lots of creepy guys have seen my pictures. So big fucking deal. He just sent a text, so I saw your post. Lol. I responded yep. And now to think about it, he never talked to me again. Probably on account of how weird my boobs look. Had some nude pics of mine get posted on a gay Tumblr. I'm not gay, but I am a man and was super in shape at the time. 2 of my gay friends told me about the pics and also wanted to fuck. We never fucked, but we're still friends lol. Not quite the same thing, but this guy offered to pay me $1,000 a week for pics and videos on Kik. I was like, oh word, yeah okay. After a few days he started getting really demanding, not respecting my boundaries at all. I didn't want to include my full face in the pics/vids for obvious reasons, and when I said I wasn't comfortable with some of the shit he wanted, he flipped out and threatened to put everything on Reddit. Thankfully Kik has a pretty legit policy against harassment and you can report whole conversations and get Kik to work with law enforcement. I threatened to contact them and he had a meltdown, apologized blah blah blah. This was literally yesterday. Learned my lesson. Wish I got paid too. I'm trying to get a new place and could have used the cash haha. This thread is kind of a bummer. Sorry all you fine people are getting doxxed. Why can't people just let Brenda from accounting share her sweet hooters? I've never been approached by a person, but I regularly get messages. Most start out with a simple and mostly uncreative compliment, wait for a response and then get straight to the point. Where are you from? Would you like to? I don't really know what's going on with people that message someone on Reddit, but I wouldn't meet up with someone just because they send a message. Not on Reddit, but on Pornhub. The wife and I get it on and the page has over 60 million views now. Not what either of us expected at first by any means. I work normal jobs and get recognized by awkward customers and co-workers. Usually it is just my suspicion because I can tell they are trying to figure where they've seen me, but one time I overheard a co-worker, who I didn't know knew, accidentally refer to me by my performing name. We left our hometown a few years after getting married, and legend says we are super popular there now. We both weren't so much in high school. A part of me suspects now, after reading about the Gone Wild problem with doxing, that our info is being similarly shared, which is why I feel the need to be armed just in case. My lady too. Yes, it was a gay guy at the gym. He asked me if I posted on Reddit and I said yes. Then he asked if it was NSFW and I said some. He said he recognized me. It's been like 2 years ago and I have stopped posting. Fairly wholesome by comparison to other posts. Wife and I have our identities well hidden for many reasons. I've posted several stories of our dating adventures, mostly to improve my writing skills as well as share a secret side of our life. We also belong to close-knit fetish community on another website. Different handles, identities also well hidden, etc. My eyes bugged out when a topic was started about must-reads for a specific fetish and one of the posts was to one of my stories. No recognition or anything. Just felt good knowing someone I know in a different circle enjoyed my story. Yes. Multiple times now. Luckily everyone is usually super sweet. A guy stopped me in a club a few months ago and said, "You have an OnlyFans, don't you?" and actually recognized little ol' me. He was super lovely and we hang out a lot of the night. Most people are super respectful and sweet. It's usually the guys who don't pay for adult services in clubs who are aggressive and think they are deserving of your number, touching you, etc. I posted a number of nudes on an alternative Reddit account and a few weeks later someone on Tumblr posted it claiming it to be them. A mutual acquaintance of my BF messaged me to let me know they were there and gave me a direct link. Tumblr account created, message sent, images removed. This happened long before Reddit was even around, but I remember the most popular girl in my school was everything you could want. Every dude wanted her and every girl wanted to be her type situation. We will call her Molly. She, of course, only dated older, mature guys, but I'll be damned if I didn't fap 1 or 7 off to that cleavage. Anyways, 2 years after high school I walk into a strip club for a birthday party, in a state across the damn country from where I graduated, grab a seat and start to enjoy myself. 10 minutes later and guess who walks into the main stage? None other than Molly. She recognized me and that $20 lap dance was absolutely worth the money. She had a Tumblr for a while and then just stopped posting one day. As far as I know she doesn't have any social media, but a few friends have told me she's married with kids now. I have never clicked on user profiles of the answers as much as I did on this thread. I dated a former cam girl for a couple months. She said she didn't get very popular in the 8 months she was active, although a guy at a Jack in the Box drive-thru recognized her and gave us free food. So that was pretty sweet. Not quite pictures, but I post audio porn on r/gonewild, so not quite the same, but I've never been embarrassed about admitting it. A couple days ago before classes I was getting a coffee from Starbucks and the barista recognized my voice. He said my voice sounded familiar. I told him and he smiled and nodded. Very surprisingly okay encounter. Not even NSFW, but posted a pic of me and my dog, and some Hungarian dude invited me to fly over and fuck his girlfriend. Yup. A co-worker from my job. He pretended to be someone else at first and started conversing with me. Then went on to casually drop all my private information in the convo and kept messaging me after I told him to stop and leave me alone. He then started pretending that the only reason he contacted me in the first place was because he wasn't sure if it was me and thought someone was stealing my identity. My face wasn't even in the pics. It was a throwaway account, so I deleted it and all the pictures, but he had my kick, so he started sending me good morning messages every morning while subtly threatening to send the screenshot of the pics to all my friends and family if I didn't respond. It's probably stupid, but it kinda made me afraid of blocking him. He was still messaging away even after I stopped responding. I work in sales, so it wasn't as if there was an office I had to see him in every day. We had a work meeting, and in the middle of it, when my eyes met his at one point, he gave me this huge wink and a smile. Finally that night I went on his FB, which is public, and sent him the first names of his wife and some family members, and told him if he didn't leave me the fuck alone I would send his messages to me to them. Haven't heard a peep from him since. I never posted on GW, but I did have a threesome and pictures were taken. A year later my son's father sends me and my mom one of the pics, very explicit, because he saw it on Tumblr. I was a nude model in my younger years and posted some work on DeviantArt. Some of them ended up on 4chan, and eventually the link to my portfolio got sent around at work in a very male-dominated field. A lot of people liked to have opinions about me because they saw me naked, but had never actually spoken a single word to me in their life. Lots of sexual harassment and unwanted attention came of it, but I still don't regret doing it. It was all very classy stuff, and I'm proud of my body of work. Admit it, you're just looking for boobs to look at with a tad more context. Yes, except the fan was my boss at a fast food restaurant I worked at. He began to hit on me every chance he got. He tried to kiss me at a work Christmas party in an aggressive manner. After that, I threatened to call the cops and file a restraining order. He backed off, but I quit shortly after just because it was extremely awkward. Happens to me a lot, woman shrugging, mostly it's just guys taking a second look at me, then looking at me really confusingly like they recognize me, but they don't know how, smiley face. I get a lot of false positives though. I get messages all the time telling me they saw me in Chipotle today. Nope. This post is one made-up reply from citation in hundreds of restraining orders. F. From US here. Used to post in GW about 6 or so years ago, used to post pics on 4chan and Tumblr and other seedy spots on the internet before that too. Got pretty popular here, 5-digit karma, photos still get reposted every so often, sometimes other people use them to catfish, which just amuses me more than anything. In 2018 on Valentine's weekend, my boyfriend, who didn't know I used to do this, I had quit for the most part by then, took me on a surprise week-long trip to Italy, and in Rome near the Spanish Steps someone shouts my username in public. It sort of ruined the trip for me, and I got paranoid, not wanting to go anywhere super touristy in Rome after that, which sucked because he knew how much I love Renaissance art and architecture and ancient Rome and everything. But at least my boyfriend didn't know. I didn't want to have that conversation with him. Someone recognized me in a coffee shop, then messaged asking if it was me later. I was spooked, but he was very respectful and I haven't gone back to that coffee shop since. Edit, forgot, like a bunch of other times this has happened. I've been recognized by 2 guys that I matched with on Tinder. Ended up meeting them both. They both told me prior to meeting and again were very respectful and not weird about it. And also my ex found me when we had only been dating a couple of months. He was really into it but turned out to be a total shitbag otherwise. And another guy I've dated on and off found me. This was the only one that truly freaked me out because he brought it up right after sex, but it ended up okay and we're still very close. Posted on Reddit, Pornhub and Tumblr when younger. It was fun. I didn't really interact with people. I liked uploading things with my BF, now husband, occasionally. Velp a few years into it I started getting messages. Somebody started making Instagram and Twitter accounts contacting my personal social medias. They knew who I was and were adamant I knew them too. They weren't cruel, didn't expose me, they just watched. But they also knew where I worked, where I lived, who I hung around. At one point in the beginning we were friendly as you can get with a guy who has the power to expose the private parts of you. I think I didn't want him to feel like he should expose me, so I tried to be on his good side. But honestly, I don't think he will. This person still makes accounts occasionally, still finds ways to keep tabs on me. My social medias are either locked down or completely wiped, but it doesn't matter. This guy will always make it known that he's watching. I try to keep it polite, because who knows. So, if he has this account info, hi Kermit. Didn't get around to deleting it at the 1 or 2 year mark. Kinda tired of starting over. I've had a few NSFW Reddit accounts, and my first one was very quickly recognized by a friend. I never show face, but he knew what I and my house looked like. He saved my pics and still occasionally masturbates to them. I don't mind. He's not weird about it, and it's nice knowing you're sexually attractive to somebody. I posted a couple pictures of my fiance on here, and like 6 months afterward I got a message saying I like your holes WTF? Is that supposed to be sexy or something? Who the fuck says that? I told him I'm a guy so have fun jacking off to that, and to fuck off. Thanked him as well cause I didn't want to be that big of an asshole. I posted a progress pic with my face covered and got 4 decimeters pretty quickly. The first 2 were pretty innocuous, other than the fact they felt the need to send it privately rather than comment in the thread. The third one said my legs looked strong, and the fourth one asked if I was single. So I just blocked all of them and deleted the picture. I only responded to the first one who wanted a diet buddy, so I sent a link to a Discord, ignored the others. I was at a restaurant and a waiter comes up to get the order and says, "Hey, are you on Reddit?" I face-palmed. He recognized my r/pics post where I was test driving a van with accessible controls from my power chair. Never thought anyone would see it. They always ask to see if I sell my underwear. I don't, but I should. Not on Reddit, but once at the nude beach a few people recognized my dick from a Pornhub video. Then later on I beat my dick. I've been on the opposite end of this in a way. I had a girl who was sort of interested in me. She came over to my place to hang out one night. I was a bit denser back then and apparently she was into me for a few years. She elected to pull up her Gone Wild account on my PC and left it in a separate tab just before leaving for the night for me to find later. Admittedly it worked because I looked at her a bit differently after the incident. We ended up dating her for a year and some change afterwards. She was fun and I genuinely enjoyed being around her and still miss her sometimes. That being said, she also cheated on me 4 times and I'm still furious about it. Emotions are weird. Not on Reddit, but I used to be a cam girl. An older man in Walmart approached me saying he loved my videos and was very sad when I announced I wouldn't be doing them anymore. He saw my daughter, who was 3 months old at the time, and said, "Oh, you got pregnant. You could have made a lot of money doing pregnant vids. I would have loved to watch you grow." It freaked me out a bit, and my daughter and I left the store immediately. This is one of 3 people I've run into and he was the most polite, which is sad. People post NSFW pics to Reddit like of themselves naked. On this account, I posted a picture of a friend of mine from a night we went to a hotel in Montreal. The post only got like 3 comments, but I received about 15 plus private messages and dick pics. I guess people thought I was her. There were weird requests, sign-ups to websites, money offers for more pictures and modeling sessions, sex videos with specific requests in exchange for money, and just overall creepy worded messages. People are just so fucking weird. It's no wonder some of them grow up to be 30-year-old virgins. Found a friend posting on the NSFW site. I recognized the skin tone and her shape, but wasn't 100% sure, so I matched up the backgrounds with social media posts. It was definitely her. I told her I found her profile and liked it a lot. Sometimes she sends me NSFW pics now. It's made us closer friends, knowing a secret together, and we talk more often now. Not just about that, but about what's going on in our lives, thousands of miles apart, and how our pets are doing and stuff. It's been nice. Gonna get buried, but I saw a girl I knew once on LimeWire back in the day. She was 2 years older than me, but I didn't say anything to her about it because I was 14 at the time and it looked like the guy she was with was significantly older than her. I kinda quit looking for pictures after that. I don't post, but a while back I was scrolling through my home feed and saw a girl on r/girls finishing th job who looked way too familiar. I thought there's no way, so I clicked on the link and sure enough there she was on Pornhub sucking some dick. It was an old work friend of mine that I haven't seen since we were in high school. I've never encountered someone I knew doing NSFW on the intranets. It sorta felt like when you find a shiny in Pokemon. Anyways, I debated for a couple minutes whether I should message her and say something like, "Hey, I'd if you consented to this or not, but you're on Pornhub." But I decided against it, knowing I'd probably have to explain how I came across the video in the first place. Lol. I posted really niche fetish pics to a Tumblr account with not a lot of followers, less than 100k, and a dude from high school correctly identified me even though I wasn't even the same gender he once knew me as. It was scary, but I sought to embrace it. I'm not doing anything wrong, and it's only embarrassing if I let it embarrass me. Wasn't me personally, but I found a girl in my high school algebra class on a piss fetish website. At the time, we were both 17. I'm 31 now. She wasn't the most beautiful bombshell, but she was good looking. I had been using StumbleUpon and I happened to catch her face on the main page as I clicked through. When I looked into it, I could clearly see her freckles and the cute little mole on her face. There were full body nudes and everything. I had approached her and without bringing it up directly, we started talking about finding jobs and she mentioned trying out modeling for something online. I told her something corny like, "You're beautiful, I'm sure you'll get picked up," but nothing ever came from it. So much for 17-year me trying to score. I was much older when I figured out I should have said something to her about it or even went to the police because the legal age is 18 where we live and she was underage. Just didn't register at the time cause I was trying to score. Like the dumb little high schooler I was, confused face. Felt a lot creepier than I would have anticipated. It's why I had to delete my old account, and now I'm really careful not to show anything that could identify me. I've had people messaging me thinking they saw me out and about. Little do they know I never leave my house. Call me. Not here but on Google Plus before it shut down. It wasn't of myself but rather custom hentai for others. Usually they're OCs and I did them for free as practice. Eventually I felt the need to charge a small fee just to get supplies as these were hand-drawn, so a $2 fee was put up. This guy who got around 6 free pics was pissed and complained about how I changed and was greedy now. Even went out of his way to turn his followers against me. Normally I just block them, but I decided to have some fun and post all the cringy free stuff he wanted for free. Posted past chats as well as what started all that. He then changed his name, blocked me, and I never heard from him again. I miss that site. My sophomore year of college, a very popular Gone Wild poster transferred in. It took less than 2 months before the news was everywhere. I can only imagine it took a fraction of that for someone to recognize her, and immediately transferred after a link of a compilation of her posts circulated. Her account has since been deleted. So I guess you could say an entire college campus full of fans approached her. Obligatory never posted nudes on Reddit, but most of my NSFW pics and activity is on Twitter, but I also post here so it counts. I've been recognized 3 times at conventions, all 3 times at the same one, actually. Boo 5 I made a tweet showing what I'd be wearing, otherwise I'd probably never be recognized. Never had any bad experiences, it was actually really flattering cause I'm not at all used to being recognized. Chatted with each person for like 15 minutes, not even about lewd stuff, so it was pretty neat. Approached, like randomly out in public? Nope. But I assume there's at least one who has seen me in public and been too shy to approach me and just admired from afar. I met this girl a few years ago and we hit it off. She gave me her full name and told her to search her on Facebook. I Google her name and come across an old profile of her doing scene girl modeling, similar to Suicide Girls. Turns out she was still modeling and was using a new name. Anyways, I used her favorites listed under the old profile to get an in, and it was the best sex I've had in ages. Left on good terms as she went back to college. Kind of sleazy saying my favorite bands and books were similar or exact to hers to get laid, but I took a shot and it worked. I weirdly/freakily found my ex's pics. It had been a while since we had broken up, and I knew for a fact that she wasn't the type of girl to share those types of pics. Worked up the courage to tell her that her pics were circulating on the internet. She tried to blame me, though half-heartedly, that she thought it was me who she was sending the pics to. Apparently someone was catfishing her pretending to be me. If that makes sense? Well, in the end I was glad I told her and cleared the air, since I didn't want to be the bad guy in her eyes even if we didn't get back together. I once posted an app to CL classifieds and my boss's husband replied with his real email sharing a pic. He was inviting me to swing with them, but men aren't my thing. He sent me loads of pics of his wife in compromising positions. I'm certain she wouldn't have approved had she known. Thought about approaching the subject so she can get him to be less out there, but decided I couldn't tell her I've seen her in the middle of a gangbang. My friend got stalked and the guy tried to blackmail her. Ladies, never tell guys your name or post your face pics. The amount of creepers out there is unreal. I used to be a cam girl. Once I ran into a fan who recognized me, he was attractive, we had sex. It went great. Pornhub couple poster here. Once you get verified and start posting, you get fans. It's weird. Some of them will invite you places to join them in shooting videos, obviously not the idea we had in mind. One guy offered an allegedly luxurious trip first class to his penthouse. Very old school for a 30-something. And when we actually sent back a thank you no thank you message, he was very respectful and complimentary. Everything about this was unexpected from start to finish, lol. Then there's the fetishists who are endlessly complimentary of one singular facet of your body or performance. They usually try to talk to you and romance you into sending personalized stuff. Real choosing beggars, but nice folks overall if you take that part out. One guy was a little out there, just sent a message saying only, "Hey sexy, wanna see me suck my own cock and come in my mouth?" Last but not least are the true believers. They would send nice guy style messages to try and seek a romantic relationship with the female half of a couple. Not fun reading those messages as the guy, I'll say that much. Little weirdos see a couple, don't think the guy will see the messages and just go nuts. Good times. I had a girlfriend tell me not to watch porn. She was so adamant about it, I wondered why. After we broke up, I remembered she had a nickname. Googled it. Boom. Found her. It was just her on a cam. Really lame. One of my girlfriend's friends posts on multiple NSFW Reddit subs. I made the connection through tattoos on her Instagram, which are also visible on the Reddit posts. She posts face pictures on both as well, but the tattoos really made me go, oh shit. That's yada yada. Definitely kinda hot following both her Instagram and Reddit and knowing how slutty she really is. My girl was surprised as well. Also turned on just as much as me. Neither of us would tell her to. They aren't super close. In real life? No. I don't even get approached on dating apps.